Charles has always been full of contradictions, and one is, while he always has to be totally proper in public, a lot of evidence suggests he's a very passionate man in private.
Look at the Camilla Gate tape, for instance. The whole world sniggering and laughing over him saying how he wished he was a Tampax.
I'll just live inside your trousers or something. It'd be much easier.
What are you going to turn into? A pair of knickers? You're going to come back as a pair of knickers?
Oh, God forbid, a Tampax. Just my luck.
How on earth do you hold your head up after that? I mean, most people would just not. They would just want to dig a hole and climb into it. But he didn't. He carried on. And every time he is attacked and ridiculed, he just carries on because he believes in what he's doing.
What the prince feels about medicine and building may provoke rows, but it doesn't matter constitutionally. Religion is different. Since 1534, there's never been a king or queen who did not swear to be a defender of the faith, and that faith is the Church of England. In 1994, Charles said he didn't want to be a defender of the faith, but a defender of faiths.
Whether he would like to be, in some way, a person that feels that all faiths lead to the same God. It's unsustainable from the Christian perspective. I wish it wasn't, but that's not what Christianity teaches.
But Charles has become interested in many other religions apart from the Church of England. Perhaps most controversial is the prince's attitude to Islam. He's often praised it because it's not spiritually empty like the West.
It is part of our inheritance, not a thing apart. More than this, Islam can teach us today a way of understanding and living in the world which Christianity itself is poorer for having lost.
I think what he admires about Islam is its mystical core, its architecture, and the way in which it has maintained an integrity about it. And he's always talking about the more moderate elements of Islam, many of whom have been drowned out by the noise of fundamentalism.
Charles's opinions and attitudes may be progressive, but if he can't take the oath to be the defender of the Church of England against other faiths, the constitutional consequences are huge. The Church would no longer be linked to the state. Its 26 bishops who sit in the House of Lords would have to leave. The Pope could even reimpose his authority over Anglicans.
If he can't, in all honesty, be supreme governor of the Church of England, then perhaps abdication.
The most peculiar aspect of Charles's spirituality is his interest in the occult and in esoteric Christianity. Both Charles's gurus, Van der Post and Jung, were fascinated by such strange and disturbing ideas. Van der Post even believed he was a knight of the Round Table and a reincarnation of the Templars who guard the Holy Grail.
He also, in some of his dafter letters, actually claimed that he had met people on his travels who were reincarnations of various medieval figures. This was one of the ploys he used to use with millionaires who were potential suppliers of cash. He would assure them that they, like him, were in the tradition of even reincarnation of the Knights of the Round Table, and they could join his glorious crusade to save the same of modern society.
Such beliefs are part of an obscure Christian tradition. And Charles also backs the Tenedos Academy, a small organisation which studies everything from ghosts to where the Holy Grail really is. In Greek, Tenedos means the sacred grove in front of the temple.
10 basic principles that inspire the work of Tenedos: acknowledgement of divinity, love of wisdom as the essential basis of civilization, spiritual vision as the life breath of civilization, maintenance of the revered traditions of mankind, reminding ourselves and those we teach to look up, and not down.
In his garden at his home in Highgrove, Charles has built a temple to his ideas about architecture and spirituality.
He's built a sanctuary. This is somewhere where he goes on a regular basis. It's a small building in a wood. It's very simple inside, and it's got some lovely stained glass and one or two small ornaments. And I think it's a place where you could find some peace.
But any chance of peace for Charles was to be shattered. In 1996, Charles and Diana finally divorced. And then came the crash in Paris, which killed her. When Charles went to bring Diana's body back from Paris, he appeared to maintain his composure.
His face carries a deep sadness. He looks downcast. It's almost etched into his face. You do see the years of turmoil and sadness.
The only thing you could say at that stage that was tasteful was a huge weight had been lifted from his shoulders, in the sense that she was not around anymore to snipe from the wings, to wipe him off the front pages by changing her hairstyle or wearing a new hat, and to generally discombobulate his life, which she would certainly have continued to do with some relish, I think.
Oh, yes, how nice of you, how nice.
Now it was up to him to cope with the problems of bringing up teenage sons. But Charles is much more relaxed, even in public, than his parents were with him. After all, this was where he came from.
I suppose one should have sympathy for somebody who's grown up in what appears to be a deeply dysfunctional family. And I think his upbringing and the remoteness of his parents for most of his life, and the kind of life that goes on behind the walls of Buckingham Palace and elsewhere. Yes, I suppose I ought to feel some sorry for him as growing up as a child. I just can't bring myself to do that.